Good morning, Your Holiness. Good morning.
Just like what? Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Holiness.
Thank you. This morning, my mind very fresh after 9 hours sleep.
Wonderful. Good morning, Your Holiness. Good morning.
At this morning, feel very hungry, so heavy breakfast.
You have to have a lot of energy for our debate this morning. Greetings again from beautiful Dharamsala, India. Welcome back to day 2 of the 7th Generation Change Exchange, a dialogue between His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama and young peacebuilders from around the world. This exchange is a partnership between the Office of His Holiness and the United States Institute of Peace. I am David Yong from USIP, and I have the honor again to moderate our discussion. Your Holiness, yesterday we discussed with you how children of war can become leaders for peace. I stress the word can because, as we discussed yesterday, peace building is not simply a technical vocation. It's not just a job. Rather, as His Holiness's life exemplifies, peace building is a spiritual mission requiring a spiritual transformation. His Holiness yesterday told us about the difference between a materialist education and a moral or spiritual education. In that spirit, Your Holiness, we have been discussing 4 spiritual dimensions of peace building that one must walk through in order to be a true leader, a true peace builder. Yesterday, we discussed the first 2 spiritual dimensions of peace building. The first was belonging, and the second was compassion. Belonging, we talked about how even amidst war and tragedy, our young peace builders can draw from the love of their mother, their parents, their siblings, their church, their neighborhood, their village, their nation state, and how they can draw from that sense of belonging a deep sense of compassion to be effective and loving peace builders. Today we will talk about 2 more dimensions of the spiritual transformation required for leadership in peace building. Today we will discuss first inner peace and second commitment to equality and justice that your life has symbolized. As with yesterday, Your Holiness, our young leaders will first share stories with you in order to spark a dialogue and debate with you. So we will start with inner peace. We have 7 short stories of our young peace builders going through their own self-doubt amidst the war in their societies, and then coming to some kind of self-realization or epiphany that they can go forward with courage, with strength, with compassion. So, Your Holiness, we will have our short stories and then invite your reflections. I first turn to Angie.
Hello, Your Holiness. My name is Angie. I'm from Colombia. So yesterday we talked about education, and I have to tell you, I was my teacher's worst nightmare. It was hard for me because I was very smart, but I just could not sit still.
가르쳐줬어. 가. 네, 요거 고마워. 갔어. 응. 세브로 중마소. 오케이.
Okay, so I was very smart, but I couldn't stand still. It was very hard for me to go through high school and all of that. Actually, I remember I constantly was asking to go to the bathroom just so I could get away from the room. Fast forward, and I am dropping out of med school. I'm not feeling good. I don't know what's happening with me, what I'm going to do next. And in an attempt to cheer myself up, I go to a meeting in this volunteering organization. And the first thing they ask me to do is to dance like a chicken. I didn't know what was going on. They also told us to act concepts like diversity, peace, and education. And all of a sudden, I realized I was learning. But I was also having fun. I was enjoying the moment, and I was totally connected. I was shocked, perplexed, and very happy. It's been 12 years since that meeting, and now I've been doing countless hours of trainings in non-formal education around the world. Turns out I love education and I love learning so much that I became a psychologist. And now I started my master's in educational sciences 2 weeks ago. So I might still be a challenging student, but now I know what I need in order to thrive, and now I strive to make education accessible and good for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you for your beautiful example of a moral education. Ezra, please.
Good morning, Your Holiness. I am Isra from Sudan. So my story began back in 2019 when I sat with myself for 4 months trying to overcome my childhood trauma. When I was a child, I was bullied. And I remember that girls come to me and said, "You are not beautiful." I still have that memory in my back in my head, and I'm trying to overcome it by sitting with myself for 4 months, going through identity crisis, asking myself, who am I? What do I want? Ending by what? Racism, and how we can overcome it. As peace builder, we always ask ourselves, what is conflict and how we can overcome it? And for me, after setting for myself with 4 months, I come up with answer, which is education. So that is why I started my initiative, New Generation, to work with children that exposed to bullying. I did workshop in schools for children, and also I train, use, and mentoring them. Not the normal mentoring, but starting with them to build habit and to journaling and to read. I mentor more than 1,000 youth in the past 3 years. And yesterday, one of my mentees sent me, like, "Isra, I learned from you what inner peace mean." And that is why what I'm doing. Thank you. This is my story.
Thank you, Ezra. Thank you for being a great teacher. Patrick, please.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Patrick Godi from South Sudan, the newest nation in the world. My country is recovering from a brutal civil conflict that has uprooted millions and displaced thousands within the country and across borders. In 2016, I found myself stranded in a foreign country unable to return home due to the fear of insecurity and war. I was at the center of helping desperately fleeing South Sudanese families, friends, and refugees to find a sanctuary. A year later, I was selected by my peers to lead a youth movement. The youth movement declared that we are tired. We are tired of the war and the suffering that it brings. We are tired of the injustices and inequalities perpetrated in our country. We are tired of sitting and being unable to salvage our country from burning. So we took a stand, and with that declaration, I was cast into leadership and peace building in my country. From that moment, I started working on peace building and promoting the efforts of young people in the peace processes. And from that time, Your Holiness, 6 years later, I am here, a bit wiser, more handsome, yet still struggling with bearing the aspirations of South Sudanese. In my case, leading the effort is faced with suppression, with ridicule, with exile, and in some cases, even death. Some of my friends always tell me that, Patrick, you have options. Yes, I do. To me, the struggle is my passion. I see strength with every fall, and yet I still wonder how to keep the promise and hopes alive in my loneliest hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
가셔서.
No, 그러나 다직 CD 돌지 레벨 빼고 가라 다직 샘 슈차야게 내가 지금.
가셔서.
South Sudanese,
가.
South Sudanese. Dini Quran zu lumba na lomak chu mango yo ma ne chungne ni Quran kap chu ba lumba shamba la chi dini Quran zu shunge na ne ni shide tunda la ya ma bejun che Quran zu shunu zu lu shunge peace building ko love use ta de la ni Quran sim shu chimbu ris cha de use the course.
Thank you. Arish.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Erish, and I am from Tunisia. I've always been impressed by the power of technology to change the world. So I wanted to learn about it as much as I can, and I loved to share what I learned with others. That's why, 4 years ago, I decided to open a technology club in my school. It is the opening event of the club. I'm standing on stage, and the president of the club asks me to introduce myself. So I was standing on stage, and the president of the club was asking me to introduce myself. It was my first time to stand and speak in front of 400 students. I was so nervous, I started shaking, and I wished the ground to open up and swallow me. But the ground didn't swallow me, and the stage kept welcoming me for the next year, allowing me to improve at public speaking until I was able to speak confidently in public. And again, I loved to share what I learned with others. So I decided to help other Tunisian youth to find their voice like I found mine. And I became a debate trainer, touring for the next summers, touring Tunisia, giving debate trainings in different regions, allowing young Tunisians to improve at public speaking and find their voice. Like I said, I found mine. This was really important for us because not only were young Tunisians able to be good at public speaking, but they also found a safe space where they could debate delicate and controversial topics in our country without being threatened. It's been 12 years since the Tunisian revolution happened, and still, government officials, decision makers, and parliament members are fighting each other, even on live TV shows. Some of us are losing hope that someday Tunisia will be free from conflicts. But I won't lose hope, and I will keep doing the work that I do because I believe in the words of my dad, who told me the priceless gift of the Tunisian revolution is hope. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful message, Arish. Hajir, please.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Hajir. I come from the biggest nation of the world without having an state. I am a Kurd from Kurdistan region of Iraq. It is 2013. It was the time to decide what I'm going to study in my university. My parents, for the sake of their, I pleased my family to go to the university and studying engineering, but it wasn't my field. I have always asked myself, what do I want in my life? And what do I do for achieving what do I want? So I have always wondered, the thing that you said yesterday about equality, it was really moved, but I didn't feel equality since I was born, because I am from a nation that whenever we ask for equality, we have been killed and massacred. In 1988, 182,000 people were genocided by the Saddam regime just for being a Kurd. In 1988, 5,000 people, including newborn children, were killed by chemical weapons by Saddam regime. I have never felt freedom, because whenever we ask for freedom, we have been killed. In 2017, we did a referendum for seeking independency, but the regional governments allied and killed thousands of our brave soldiers for just saying that we want to be a freedom, we want to be a free. All these incidents moved me to work for building peace and maintaining peace in my region. So when you talked about inner peace, I was so moved, I was so touched, but I couldn't feel. It's hard for us to feel inner peace while we wake up every day and waiting for powerful countries to decide about our identity, about my people. It's hard to be in the biggest nation of the world and you don't have any. You are fighting for preserving your identity. All this helped me. All this encouraged me to work for maintaining peace in my region, to promote and to preserve and to protect my identity. Your Holiness, this is the story. This is not the story of one individual. This is the story of 40 million people from my region. Thank you.
Thank you, Hajir. Roya.
Good morning, Your Highness. My name is Roya, and I'm from Libya. Self-doubt has been a big part of who I was. And
From
Libya.
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 Self-doubt was a big part of who I was, and it impacted a lot of decisions that the young me had to make. Looking back at my journey and the small moments where a college professor had validated my unpopular opinion in the classroom, or that email that says, "Congrats, you have been accepted for this opportunity to meet the Dalai Lama," where I thought that I didn't have a chance to be accepted in the first place, kind of helped me in believing in myself. And all of these kind of endorsements helped me in believing that I have the ability to make a change, and also to help pay it forward for other peers like myself to believe in themselves and believe that they have the ability to make a change in their communities by providing trainings and the tools to them and the opportunities so they can flourish and make an impact and make them realize their true potentials, just like I did with the support of others. So I always emphasize on the importance of paying it forward, and if every one of us as individuals worked on doing that for others, our communities will be better than they are today. And that is my story.
Thank you, Roya.
Karsa.
이제 수수수 통화 대직 닝도보다 직 주인들의 삼삼 매개저로 수수수 직 녀주로 제시 어디 간년 최단대단 디네도 디도칭다 현라에 편도다 디고르셔 그래서 수이네 수수 제토버 유 삼삼이 디 뽑아시 레여저로 디토네 뭐랑 디치고 있어.
Thank you. Sophia.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Sofia, and I'm from Venezuela. And I would like to share with you a story of self-knowledge. So when I was in high school, me and my best friends were running to become the next Secretary General of my high school's Model of United Nations. It was very exciting because I really wanted this challenge, but so did my best friends. So one day we were being interviewed by the people that were going to choose us, and the first question they asked was, who do you think is the best fit to become the next Secretary General? And immediately we all turned to see my best friend, because she had the highest reputation and had won the most awards. The second question took me by surprise, because it was, who do you think is the least fit to become Secretary General? And I just didn't expect that all of my best friends looked at me without hesitation. It was extremely humiliating, and I kindly asked the people that were recording us to delete this video. But I had this idea that I wasn't fit to become the leader for the next 2 weeks. So when we were sitting front row, waiting for the announcement, I was holding my best friend's hand, waiting for her name to be called, because I was sure that her name was going to be called. But suddenly, I'd raise my eyes, and I see that they were calling my name. I hear my name. And I was extremely disappointed at this time, because I have bought and believed that they said that I wasn't fit to become the next Secretary General. But everyone else around me saw it. So this is an example that I always keep in the back of my mind as a reminder that being a leader also comes with self-doubt. And you were mentioning yesterday that we also need compassion to others, but I believe that part of being a leader is having compassion for yourself as well. So that's why I always work to bring and empower young women and men in Venezuela to find their own voice and feel empowered on themselves, not only waiting for other people's recognition. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you to all our 7 storytellers this morning. Your Holiness, as you've heard, all of our storytellers, all of our leaders look to you as a symbol and the reality of inner peace. You not only as a Tibetan Buddhist leader, but as a great spiritual leader of our times. Your Holiness, yesterday we were discussing all of our journeys towards inner peace as peace builders, and we were wondering, wow, His Holiness was only 23 years old when he had to lead his people into exile from Lhasa to India. And what was he thinking? What was he feeling? Did he have the self-doubt that we have all felt in our own journey, our own spiritual transformation? So we're all curious if you want to share your story of being 23 years old, March 1959, and what you were thinking and feeling to lead your people.
Initially, danger for my own community, and then also my own life. So things become something urgent or desperate. I escaped. I think I mentioned yesterday one information. The Chinese military leader want to know where Dalai Lama live. Supposed to say, they say, project that, but doubt whether project or target. So in any way, such very serious sort of emergency, I just decide escape. But now since I become refugee, I feel much happier, more free. At India, we have a long history. So I become a guest of Indian government. Now look world, humanity. I think time come, we have to think from more realistic way, not thinking based on our past experience, past our history, war, killing. Now that we should consider past. Now new situation. There's 7 billion human beings. Everywhere we want equal. It's very right. In previous time, yes, Western imperialist is supposed to be our leader. Now that thinking no longer. We all same right. Whether African or European or Asian, we all, as I mentioned yesterday, so long do I, one knows 100% we are same. So now on this planet, all 7 billion human beings all have same right, no base to say we are superior. No longer now, that thinking. We all 100% same. So sometimes, I think yesterday I mentioned, I think, like United Nations, you see, should be not just a political representative of different country, but United Nations should be a body of world humanity. Think more about the situation, people. So on behalf of these people, small group, their voice may not reach at top. So like United Nations should pay more attention. This is such a smaller community. So now, time come, we have to consider we 7 billion human beings, we are same. We have to live together on this planet. The differences of country now no longer relevant. We all same.
Thank you, Your Holiness.
So you see, really we need, you see, looking the today's situation according to reality. Should not repeat thinking previous sort of one nation superior, dominant, and other inferior. Not like that. All are same. The kings or queens or United Nations secretary, we all same human being, same emotion, no differences. So now time come, all people, we should consider all people 100% same right. And then I really little critical the different countries and with different system. In a way, maybe more efficient, but too much emphasis my country, their country, and then problem. As I mentioned yesterday, the spirit of European Union. You see, thinking the common interest, completely forget past history, fighting, killing each other. Now completely change. Now thinking new reality. So European Union, the idea, develop wonderful, similar sort of thinking, humanities union. No basis to say Asian, Western, African, or like that. We all, the way we born, same. The way we grown up, same. And between there, then you see different name of country and its own history. And thinking sometimes reflect on these, also the reality. Then whole thinking change. In this respect, I'm refugee, no country. So quite open. So now we are same human being. So we have same right. Then too much emphasis, my country, their country, and also my religion, their religion. Now these are now out of date. Should not think. We are same. The religion, personal matter, and country, my country, their country, that with strong feeling is outdated. That's my view. I think because I become a refugee, I lost my own country. So that kind of thinking. So you also should be refugee. So they no longer say, my nation, your nation, like that. We are same. We have to live together on this planet.
Your Holiness, thank you for your beautiful vision. And it's this generation that will lead us to that promised land, I'm sure. So, since you slept so well last night, we have many questions for you because you had a lot of sleep.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as Secretary General of her model United Nations program in her high school, I'm going to give Sophia the first question because she and her generation will lead the transformation of the United Nations.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Your Holiness. I would like to know from your experience if there was a moment that you knew that you were making the right decision, probably when you migrated from Tibet to India, but you still had the self-doubt when you didn't have support of other people around you. How do you move past that self-doubt and still be strong with the decision that you made?
That's mainly your own feeling, honest, more compassionate thinking, and consider all human beings are same. Not much thinking, my nation, my sort of a community, not thinking, not too much emphasis, but we, human being, same, or say, the way birth, the way die, same. So while we alive, no basis, proper basis to say, my nation, your nation, and mentally, a little bit sort of distance. It's you see, not reality. We all same.
Thank you, Your Holiness.
Tiwa di dirila, jawram chi neduen di le tola tawchuen nangbe kabla. Tuda neduen khaan yi rungwa jila tawchuen nangbe kabla. Kabri jawram chi ngwe ne tawchuen nang because to ne ta chen nang chu na ya shen gi gyab jo me ba ta den je gi chan ne ya ji kan de ra ji xin yong sam ba ji lo do ra ji ge nang yu na di du ko la an ji de di sel ta do kan de nang yu na kuran den de chung yin sa.
Now today, all political responsibility totally resign. But in any way, whenever I carry some decision, I always consult with concerned people. What's their view? What's their feeling?
Thank you, Your Holiness. Let me ask Patrick if he has a question.
Your Holiness, I've been reflecting on your journey, on your people, and your eventual flight out of your country. And as the representative of the aspirations of millions of Tibetans, you chose to flee out of the country to save it from destruction that will emanate from your own people's resistance. I wonder how you manage the different voices. For example, some sections within your people who will have said, for example, you advocate for a violent means of reclaiming your country and sovereignty.
Karsa.
President tabzo to the gyarum che gongba sheba na shi yang chi me denge chagbu lengu to ne yang chi ngaz president tabzo chagbu to ne da president tabzo che wo de singe din je yue ba ta ya samzu min ra ki ding din je yu di la dong len kan de nang na si.
Now among Tibetan, there are some groups, you see, thinking fight with Chinese militarily. Oh. But these are unrealistic. Too much emotion, not thinking properly. So that's I think 30, 40 years ago. Now today, situation much change. So world opinion, now today, world opinion really makes differences. And 30, 40 years ago, world opinion not much was a relevant local condition. So the Chinese also suppress, not much thinking, world opinion. And the Tibetan also is a fight. So that's opposed in everywhere. You see, thinking, fight. Now, truly, the concept or the organization of military forces now no longer need. Whole world should be demilitarized. Any problem, small problem, through discussion can solve. Now using weapon no longer should be passed. And then, as I mentioned, I think yesterday, the best weapon from birth is my nail.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Roya, would you like to ask a question?
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Thank you, Your Holiness, for sharing with us your wisdom. My question is, how was your journey to reaching inner peace and compassion and being the person you are today?
I think I briefly mentioned it yesterday. Basic human nature, more compassionate. And then, as soon as born, you totally rely on mother's compassion. And children, I think usually not much, feeling differences, Tibetan or Chinese or Muslim or Hindus at the children's level. I don't think. All these later once join education. Then in education field, now create the impression, Tibetan, Chinese, Hindus, and also religion. That I think later people, you see, emphasis these differences. So children also then gradually, you see, get the feeling, I'm Tibetan, I'm Chinese, I'm Hindu, go like that. And furthermore, religion. So at the beginning of our life, no that kind of feeling.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Holiness.
So I really feel education is key factor. Now education should be universally thinking, not a small group, this nation, that religion, that outdated. Past is people thinking that, and result, more fight. You see, neglect oneness of human being. Now time come, we must emphasis on oneness of entire human being.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Ezra, please.
Okay, thank you, David. I would like to ask, sometimes we overthinking, because as a peace builder, we always like facing problems, and I want to ask you how to not overthink and to be present and to have a deep belief in ourselves and in our ability to solve the problems.
Karsa.
Samre Kranzo Lengui Bebe Gabla, some Dang Travel, some Logic Dang Travel Gengi, Yanchi Nodal Highest or the Didi Yanchi, the never Chikades Chores.
Yes, there are different points, you see, in different issues. So, we should emphasize overall picture. That's important. My nation, my religion, that's small. Humanity, world. And then religion, personal matter. And human being, you see, in different color, not important. We can marry happily. No obstacle of color. Same, 100% the same. So, we sometimes, I think, we too much emphasis color and religion. That's old thinking. Now time come, we have to emphasize on the point of oneness of 7 billion human beings. That's my view.
Thank you, Your Holiness. So, Your Holiness, yesterday we heard from our future mayor, Sebastian. We have our future Secretary General here. And then here, Your Holiness, we have the future President of Kyrgyzstan. He's going from, Your Holiness, he's going from Dharamsala back home to serve in his president's office in a new job. So congratulations to Hajir.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much, David, and thank you so much, Your Holiness. I have 2 brief questions. The first one about how was your feeling when you forced to leave your country, your homeland, and your people? And my second question will be about the 15th of Dalai Lama. Will be there a 15th Dalai Lama? Will be a male or female Dalai Lama?
When we were living, you see, we too much thinking, Tibetan, Chinese, communist, Tibetan Buddhist. So there are a lot of problems, a lot of, the crisis in mentally. Now, at that time, if we have thinking, we are same. The land belongs to humanity. So any human community can live, and important is live harmoniously, friendly, helping each other. Then not much problem. So, firstly, I want to little joke. You see, when I saw, you see, your, you see, no hair. So I think some hair from here, put here. So, me personally, very helpful. Become refugee, no country. And everywhere, we human being, so long smiling, then really feel human brother, sister, very happy. No longer say, it's my nation or my country and these things. So thinking, humanity, that's really now very helpful to maintain peace of mind. So we should not look past. Past, you see, each nation, too much thinking, their own people, their own country, and including their own religion. Now that's old thinking. As a result of that kind of thinking, war, weapon, too many killing. Now, time come, we have to look from different angle. We all same human being, and we live one small planet, and it is much better, logical. We live as the human brothers, sisters, the same planet. I really emphasize now there, we are same. So, any argument?
Oh. He had a second part to his question about the 15th Dalai Lama.
Oh, that is not my own business. Now, this moment, 87. Perhaps, according to medical checkup, my physical health very good. So another 10, 15, 20 years, then question come, next Dalai Lama. But that's not my business. My business, I believe, rebirth. So thinking, next birth. So most probably, I reborn on this planet, this world. I have some special connection. So the previous Dalai Lama, first Dalai Lama, he sort of expressed he want to burn Tibet continuously, serving Tibetan people and Buddha Dharma. So that is quite reasonable, quite good. So I may, you see, time of dying, I may determined to reborn among Tibetan community. But we'll see the situation. But I really feel oneness of 7 billion human beings. Not much differences. Too much emphasis, my race, my nation, that's to become source of conflict. So we should think more about humanity in general.
Your Holiness, thank you. And for your sake, we hope you reach nirvana that you deserve and you see Bishop Tutu in your nirvana. But for our sake, we hope you are reborn into our world so your great spirit can continue.
Kwasa.
그런 게 자원무치 그게 제마데 비숍 투투 제 레와 유선야 셰샤지
수
비숍 투투 총사로알
네.
그런 게 되고 자원무치를 차샤나니야 타바던 지켜봐야 페투야 고동톱도야 그래와 유스 이네 만주체도 잠물릴 양자 기와 시로나스 그게
My determination, serving sentient being, and other sentient being, other world, no connection, only in this world. So from that viewpoint, I will reborn on this planet and serving humanity as much as I can. That's practical.
Thank you.
I may born in different planet, so completely new. So I don't know how to serve. This planet, you already know. So small childhood, some sort of traces of past memory. So I myself, in my own birthplace area, there are some sort of event I clearly express about my past life and previous country. So some connection. So I reborn on this planet where I don't know, Tibet or Europe or Latin America. That's, of course, we also believe, like our Lokiteshvara, and some we may call some higher being. So I have some connection. These higher being, I acting like representative of these higher being. So according their wish and my where I born. So one famous lake in Tibet shows now 3 words: akama, amdo, ka, kumbum. Ma, most probably my name La Mo Tundrup. That show from that lake. So some connection. These are some mysterious things. But according to my own sort of experience, mysterious things really very helpful. So these mysterious forces, they can see long-term, or say, long-term interest. We, human body, limited. So life full mystery.
Thank you, Your Holiness. We have one more question from this group. Arish.
Thank you, Your Holiness. So when you were in my age, you had to take the important decision of whether to flee India and escape. And throughout your life, you had always had to take decisions on behalf of your people. My question to you is, in those delicate situations where you have to take important decisions, what helps you make the right decision and know how to choose the right one clearly? Thank you.
Karsa.
여러분이 공론이 저섬내 지니 가서래 투긴 셰프레스 페릭당 페미마 아니 전주 페니안 무튼 도신 찰나요레스 아니 저에 같이 여러분이 두다 줘야 된대 내된데 두베컬라 두다 줘단데 지금 만노바데 컨디스난 두고 요이나스.
We have our own tradition. Of course, we are Buddhist, and certain deities. Since first Dalai Lama, special connection. So we try to investigate the certain point, ask their view. So far, all major serious decision, I always try to investigate what is their opinion. So far, their indication is very, very correct, very useful. Sometimes human mind thinking and their view different, but I decide their view. According to their view, I decided. So finally, all these decisions become very right decision. So now here, Dalai Lama, as a human being, but in certain Dalai Lama's work, not a human being. Some mysterious sort of force. I have some connection.
Maybe you can share it with us. So, thank you, Your Holiness, for your stories and your thoughts. Before we change groups, I want to express thanks to our colleague from the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, Mr. Deepak Padma Kumar. He has been a wonderful source of support for our program. We couldn't have been here without him. Thank you, Deepak.
Oh.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. So, he's the future Secretary General of the United Nations. So, let's now very quietly change groups, and we'll get to our next topic. Your Holiness, all of the peacebuilders have been very moved by your teachings about the oneness of 7 billion human beings, about humanism, a humanism that transcends the various great religions of the world. And we interpret your teachings to mean that humanism requires a dignity and equality and justice for all human beings. So that's why we called this fourth and final dimension of our spiritual transformation as peace builders, as a commitment to equality and justice. And so we have 5 stories to share from you, and then we'll invite your reflections. So first, our friend Gloria.
Thank you, David. Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Gloria Albert Vitia. I'm from South Sudan. It was in 2000 when I was in class. It was a break time, and we were going out, and we had a very sarcastic laughter in the back of the class. As we turned back, someone said blood. We didn't know what was happening until we realized that one of my friends has actually started her menstrual period for the very first time. There was a lot of shame around it. I remember we were running around the compound of the school looking for a scarf so that we can cover the blood so that nobody sees, because period is dirty and it's shame. Nobody should see blood. After that, we went home. The next day, we came to class. My friend did not come to school, and the day after. And that day evoked a lot of questions in me. I started asking myself, why will a natural body be associated with a lot of shame and stigma? How many girls, not only my friend, but how many girls that has gone through the same situation as my friend missed school just because of that? Education is a human right, but because of that, my friend was not able to enjoy her human rights. Years later, the situation has not changed. It's still the same. Women miss school because of period. There's a lot of stigma is still associated with period. I took it about myself. I felt a sense of responsibility that I have to do something. I started a journey with young women and girls to understand their body, to dismantle the stigma and taboo surrounding menstruation. And during our work, we were able to dismantle that, the taboo and stigma. I wanted to see a world where women and girls are able to enjoy their human rights, their rights to education. And through that, I'm able to create a just and equal world. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria, for your very courageous work.
So far, on this planet, all human beings, same human being, but due to some color or previously due to military force differences. Now that situation creates a lot of problem. Now that should be passed. Now, I think firstly, we should be demilitarized world. All decision not based on military power, no. Reason and thinking, the majority of the people, concerned people's view, feeling. So no longer weapon become decision maker. It's absolutely wrong, now past. Now we have to each people their own way thinking what's best for your own community. Then you have completely freedom to carry, not relying on force. I think the past way of thinking, way of doing is now past. Now we should have all human beings 100% equal. And the majority, so long as a community remain, and then all community have the right to decide what kind of future for their own community. Then ultimately, everything should in the hand of people, not leader. And leader also, genuine democratically elected leader, also you see should think. People are still thinking. And the parliament, very good. You see the final decision, not president or prime minister, But real sort of parliament, something like that, you see, decide. So now, the final decision should in the hand of people, not leader. Now things are changing now. So we should not now looking past or say pattern. Now we must revolutionize. Everything should be in people's hand through discussion like that.
Thank you, Your Holiness. In glorious hands. Mamdouh.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Your Holiness. My name is Mamdouh Al-Qudsi. I'm from Syria. And I believe that the stories we share are the first curriculum, and they are universal curriculum for human responsibilities. My parents' stories stressed the importance of helping others until this value became an instinct for me. I would like to take you for a journey with me in Syria, in a war zone where there are bombs, rockets, explosions, disruption, and human lives are at stake. And while you're working and trying to help, the donors approach and ask you to work on reports, delivering reports. And at that point, I started to question how reports can be more important than human lives. Until this day, I did not have an answer. But this made me believe that the field of activism is thriving upon exploitation and wasting resources. Just 3 days ago, a Syrian father had to throw his baby in the sea because he died of thirst in a journey of immigration.
What is your country?
Syria.
Huh?
Syria.
Syria.
No.
Yeah.
A Syrian father had to throw his kid to the sea because he died of thirst in an immigration journey. He wanted to become a refugee, but he couldn't. And yes, I want to say that both the father and the kid, they are victim of these wasted resources. I am deeply concerned and troubled, and I feel frustrated. But also, I feel that I have to do something. And for 10 years, I've been trying, and I've been knocking on doors, on and on and on and on. Some of them opened and closed, but many others never opened. But that's fine, because life is not perfect. And there is no magic stick we can use to change the world. But you know who can change? Everyone who believes or everyone who will not give up on a broken system that if we try to fix, we will help ending the suffering of many. Your Holiness, this is my story, and this is the story that I would love to grow up telling my kids and every living soul that is trying to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamdouh. Thank you very much. Mohammed.
Thank you, David. Good morning, His Holiness. My name is Mohammed from Somalia. It's almost 4 years ago when I met with Amal, a middle-aged woman at the Regional Court of Mogadishu. She has a land dispute case which has been dragging on for almost 10 years at the court. As the saying goes, justice delayed is justice denied.
Kim Pumejigi that you say Pumejigi Saje or la Nodal Hachin and the Carsora Timlaya Tujin, Lord Jews and Gadus in Yangjin, and Tauju can imagine this about Dilkadui, Tauju Majun at Arangi, Konraish, chatting those.
As I had a brief conversation with her, I could sense lots of dismay from her voice. And this one case represents the injustice, the lack of justice pathways, and the ineffectiveness of judicial institutions that thousands of Somalis grapple with daily. This was a wake-up moment for me to realize how those who are mandated to safeguard the individual rights which are enshrined in the Constitution and the supreme law of the country, Islamic Sharia, are peace on self-fulfilling and activities against any moral grounds that they stand for. And for that reason, many potential youngsters have left the country to look for better options. At some point in my life, I was about to take the same decision, but I have kept asking myself, if not you, who else will build and revive a peaceful, compassionate, and inclusive Somalia? I believe that if as a human we don't get equal justice, if we don't get an inclusive and equal justice, there will be no peace and coexistence of humanity. Right now, I'm working to see Somalia where individual rights are dignified and equally protected, where rule of law, equity, and social justice are not only protected, but equally promoted at every state of our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for your commitment.
가르쳐서.
Kurang kita cik mi the kanya tete yo the pasare team le tu ni kanya tete yo the zomang bu cik kanya tete zambala ne rik cik sem shu cha chin gyagab shan rogo dos ne kurang when ne sem na la thau ju chi de gyagab shan chi bi ne kurang le tön ge tu be yo mar chi zang de mutu ni de thau ju chi ni de ya di shu chi ke chi mo yim chi dong ju an de gi tu chin chi yin se.
Yes, it's very correct. Due to some problem, an escape from your own country is a lack of enthusiasm. You see, we should live and where you face some problem and try to fight. Okay. So now, world much change. So basically, world truly become more democratized world. So people's voice should raise people's voice, then world take notice. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Issa.
Your Holiness, good morning. My name is Isabella. I am from Colombia, a country who have been in an internal armed conflict for more than 60 years. And I want to share a story. It was this night with my mom at the bed, and she started telling me how her dad, my grandfather, teach her how to use a gun when she was just 4 years old and put it into her pillow just because, just in case of. And if someone tried to open her door during the night, she should just shut without thinking. This was her growing up in a rural community in the mountains of Colombia. And I was shocked about how normal this was for her. And also because 40 years after this moment, I'm still living with fear. And I ask myself, why should I live with fear among brothers and sisters? That's why I decided that I wanted to become a lawyer. Right now, I'm going to start my master's degree in international human rights. And in this journey, I stuck with the term of human dignity. And it's just the basic human sense of respect. To see each other and reflect each other in one another and connect from honesty and respect. I honor human dignity right now, helping other young leaders from all across Latin America to have access to education. As you told us yesterday, education means to be able to decide and to choose freely. I truly believe that having human dignity as my daily compass and connecting from love and respect, I can see a world without borders, without political creations, and eventually I will be able to live without fear. Thank you.
Very good. So now, this is one example. Now things are changing now. Now we clearly see past bad habit or wrong policy. Now time come to change. Change by people. So, you see, things, through that way, things change. Change by people's movement. Not revolution with gun, no. Through talk, through education, mainly through education. And a wider contact with the whole world. Now we should think, we should look our future, should not repeat our past world. Now we completely new on the basis of the strong sort of view, 7 billion human beings, oneness of human being. We have to live together equally. So, small, different reasons, fight, criticize, wrong. We have to live together.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Nisa.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Nisa. I'm from Libya. And
Come.
Libya.
Karsa.
Libya.
Libya.
No.
I agree. So, I am a climate change activist. And my journey started when I watched a documentary. It's called The Inconvenient Truth. I heard a lot about climate change and a lot about global warming before. But until that moment, I never truly listened. After I watched the documentary, I started to notice things in the water that I drink, in the air that I breathe, and things that I did not notice before. I learned that every year there are thousands of people that lose their homes because of natural disasters. People who lose their loved ones because of diseases caused by pollution. And I didn't know how to feel about that. So I started a project to teach little children about climate change. And sometimes the children cry. And that made me think, how come a little child understands the urgency of this issue, but a global world leader cannot? You see, Your Holiness, I'm 25 years old. I've only seen the snow once in my life. There are many people who cannot even see stars in the sky because it's so polluted. And I've never felt like I have the need to speak about something as much as this. So for 5 years, I worked so hard to advocate for climate change. And I don't see the impact sometimes. And I feel really bad about it. Sometimes I think I don't want to do it anymore. But then I'm driven by the fear that there might come a day that nobody can see the stars in the sky. So I feel like I have to work harder. So this is the thing that I work for, and this was my journey. So wish me luck.
Yay, Nisa, thank you. So
now climate change. This is a very serious matter now. Nobody controls that. What we can do is more green, more trees, more grass. That we can do. Like one example, I think I mentioned yesterday, Ladakh, previously very dry sand. Now a lot of trees. One my friend, I think I mentioned, he first visited Ladakh. So dry, everywhere, I say, sand, nothing. So he cried. Now Ladakh, much changed, much more trees, much more sort of grass. So we can do now with awareness more green. So with knowing there is real danger, global warming reach such a level, we can't make effort. That's the end of the world. So before that, we try to cultivate more trees, more green things that we can do. I think another 1 century, 2 centuries. After that, too hot. Some Buddhist literature also say this same sun, the heat much increase. Then eventually whole world burn. So there's then no longer, you see, necessary fight among ourselves, each other. whole world now facing problem. The end of, also the final,
destruction.
So I think while we alive, it is much better live happily, peacefully. No use to think much emphasis, I, we, you, they, no longer. We all same human being. We have to live together. So oneness of entire human being on this planet. That, according to my own experience, I born northeast Tibet, then came to Lhasa, central Tibet, then eventually become a refugee. Now, you see, in my mind, we all same human being. So with that feeling, wherever I go, I always smile. And also, all my teeth from my mother give all these teeth. Every teeth, also the original one. No new one. No? So I want to show. So, you see, thinking, we are same human being. The lot of problem which we are facing is past negligence, mistake. Now we should think new way of thinking. Basically, thinking oneness of 7 billion human beings, and we have to live on this small planet. We cannot escape to the planet, and not very sure, happy or not happy. I think this planet, no matter how problem, but still it is our planet. So let us remain peacefully. Think humanity. And basic human good quality is warm-heartedness. Now with that, okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness, for sharing your thoughts about climate change. I have no doubt in my mind that leaders like Nisa will prevent the environmental destruction of our planet. But, Your Holiness, I think we need a little help from your mysterious friends as well.
Karsa. Mystery Karsa. Ka. Yo, komos kare.
Mysterious force la di la jewel somewhere.
Mysterious force.
What the dela go do some work.
Karsa.
And the Namshi Gurdog, the anti Toyala, the Koransugi, love them that is a go to.
Roughly speaking, you see, our body, we know very well, very detailed. But our mind, they are different level. So some subtle level of mind, still mystery. So, through, now I'm speaking as a Buddhist practitioner, meditate on one's own mind. Few minutes, then gradually 1 hour, 2 hours, then really you get the feeling of the subtle level of mind. So at the time of death, the subtle mind still there. All grosser level of mind completely stop. So the subtle mind goes next life. So at the time of very subtle level, some Tibetan practitioner or some monk, they actually, you see, after death, their body still remain fresh. 1 week, 2 weeks, like that. So these are their, the being still hold the most inner level mind, meditate on it, so body not decay. Now actually one Russian universities, some professor showing interest, so some our project, they some of their officials, their staff member, keep in Bangalore. When some Tibetan monk who meditate at the time of death, body remain very fresh. So trying to examine. So what result? Now I don't know. I have no clear sort of report. But idea, you see, there are some cases, according doctor, declare that person die, but still body remain, no breathing, but subtle level of mind still working here. So meditate. So body remain fresh. It's quite a mysterious thing. Actually, it happened. We notice. So some Russian, I think Moscow University, some doctors, we have some project to examine to such person. After death, body remain very fresh, like that.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Now I have some questions for you.
Oh, yes.
Oh. So I'm going to call on Iman for the first question.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Iman and I'm from Somalia. My question to you is regarding religion. Every religion is against inequality and injustice. However, we see and we experience in real life that religion is resulting in inequality and injustice. What do you think can religious leaders and spiritual leaders do differently in order to have a peace, equality, and injustice?
I think everything should look from wider
perspective.
Prospect, not just one. So religious person, you see, thinking more holistic way, not just my religion. So that also, you see, I myself now more contact with people or leader from different religious tradition. I often meet. So it is important. Just I say lack of contact with other religious tradition and just believe one's own religion. So that sometimes our thinking become more narrow. Okay.
Chulu then Tangdem Imbata, Kazore. Jigzum Mabata, the Jigdi, Candist set of children.
So if you have the wider contact with different religious tradition, then automatically each individual's mind become more open. Just believe one, sometimes you see, create your mind thinking more narrow. So it is useful to have discussions with different religious leaders and discuss, exchange. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Gloria, please.
Thank you, David. My question in regards to the Tibet people. You've been in exile for a very long time. But then from the conversation that I had and I hear is that there's still a hope that one day the Tibet people will return to their place and have the ownership of their land. What is that you hold into? What is that hope that you hold into, that one day the Tibet will have their land?
I think mainly we have deep cultural heritage, much knowledge about our mind. So now, in the past, some Chinese communists, they have no idea. So simply, a certain Tibetan cultural heritage, they feel source of separation. So you see, try to destroy. But these very strong Tibetan cultural heritage related with peace of mind, you see, no force can eliminate these thinking. So now, in Tibet, people, our traditional sort of faith and knowledge still kept very alive. Now, strangely, very few Tibetan become true communist, but many Chinese communists become Buddhist. So, you see, some Chinese university, so after seeing some of our publication from here, which eventually translation, Chinese translation. So some Chinese university's professor, you see, saw these article. Then they, of course, privately, they cannot publicly sort of say, but privately, you see, they mentioned, oh, Tibetan Buddhism is truly Nalanda tradition, very scientific religion, like that. So therefore, Now things are changing. Our cultural heritage very strong. And also, you see, very useful. I have a lot of meeting with scientists about mind, about emotion. Then other religion, not much knowledge about emotion, how to control emotion. Tibetan Nalanda tradition, Buddha Dharma, you see plenty of method to control our destructive emotion and to preserve peace of mind. I think, may I say so, I am one of the person who really keep, you see, these 1,000-year-old Tibetan tradition to keep peace of mind, not just a close eye, but you see, thinking. All the destructive emotion, no proper basis. The compassion, these positive emotion, there is plenty of reason. So thinking that way, then you get more conviction about warm-heartedness. That reduces anger, fear, jealousy. So the real peace of mind can develop through practice of genuine, I'll say, thinking like that. Now more and more scientists, brain specialists now come to see me and discuss. So these great scientists about, you see, meditation, about emotion, their knowledge almost zero. You see, we kept all these knowledge. So very useful to discuss with modern scientists. And also quantum physics, very nice. Quantum physics, you see, nothing exists as appears. If we investigate, nothing exists as appears. That's very similar, that Nalanda thinking. Things not exist as appears. The reality much depends on one's own mind. Like that. So,
thank you, Your Holiness.
Yes.
Isa, please.
Thank you, David. Your Holiness, as a lawyer, I always find myself looking for justice, right? But usually, justice ends up in punishment. So yesterday, we talked about compassion, and my question for you is like, how can we see and pursue justice without losing the sense of compassion for everyone?
Compassion towards this, no need compassion. It's just But as long as, including small insect, you should realize they also have the feeling of pain. So should not create any pain for this small insect. Through that way, thinking, not harming other animals. For me, also, you see, I never sort of killing animal, except when I have sound sleep, some mosquito come. So otherwise, you see, they keep compassionate attitude towards all sentient being. That brings you deep sort of also satisfy on this planet. Although I myself, I decided no take meat, vegetarian. Then I got some jaundice problem. So all my liver
gallbladder,
kasa
gallbladder
removed. And then doctor, they advised me I should go the original way of eating. Then some meat. Otherwise, at least 1 or 2 decades, I remain completely a vegetarian. So I really, all our major monasteries, I ask them in public level, and we should serve vegetarian food, not non-vegetarian food. So, so the pure vegetarian, that also is very good. Otherwise, you see, one person take meat, then 10 person, 100 person, 1,000 person, how many animals kill?
모랑 지원 디 탄다 팀즈베 임비차네 팀즈베 임비차네 양직 가서 개가 도비야다 장된 지에보다 냠도 양직 시행을 제와마 도려야 돼 컨테스 저를 세지를.
Yes, now, I think the basis of our justice is protect basic right, including animal. So, we human beings on this planet, I think, anyway, big killer of all these different animals. Highly necessary, then something different. But as a luxury, we should try to stop eating much meat, like that. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Isabella's question reminded me of a story from your childhood that you've told in when you were living as a small boy in Patala Palace, and you used to love looking through telescopes at the distance. And as you told the story, one day you saw a prisoner in chains praying to His Holiness or to the Buddha, and you felt great sadness. And so I'm wondering if that's, with that story, how you feel about punishment and whether punishment can be more compassionate.
겨울음식 단데 제보달라를 쇼베 qabla 단데 nga 베베기 쩨바지 지 겨울음식이야 가서 야 초치네 아니 mellam 잡지도 시송스 안디디 쩨바들 또 닝지 쇼치 깨나 소야지 근데 지송송 어디 인디다 문화 단데 제와데 단데여디 가서 참참 예바탄 왜 qabla 양지 제외 군들라는 예바탄에 된제 용쇼고 요인하면서 나니 제바든 줄
Now some punishment or some measure to stop or doing wrong thing or including killing, it is right. Control. And like my teacher, great teacher. Several years I learned from him, but he never smiled towards me. The purpose is, you see, learning more deeper sort of, what's it, spiritual, text. So very good. Otherwise, apparently, my teacher remained like that. So you see, according to circumstances, sometimes you should remain more tough. It is not my habit. I always smile. I never show this. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Mamdu.
Thank you.
No.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Holiness. I have a slightly tough question about what you mentioned, that sometimes we have to fight and make our voices heard. How did you fight and make your voice heard, and how can we do the same?
수수기 다시 내든 되된다 가리네 지 탑주 제베 qabla 양직 수수기 가소래 탑주 제약에 내든디 바 시행기라 바 다네 안 제토바 제고로 봤어 어디 지 제당도 컨데스 제고야나스 산다보데 나뉴야나스.
Firstly, your stand, honest principle, then based on compassion. Then other sort of some activities, a little harmful, then you can stand tough. No problem. In order to prevent their wrongdoing, it is right. My teacher, or as I mentioned before, you see, always keep one whip to show me. When I, summer palace, go to Potala winter, one of my staff member always carried that whip in order to punish the Dalai Lama. But I never get to use that.
Thank you. Mohammed.
Your Holiness, and you went through, as a spiritual leader of Tibetan people who went through a lot of difficulty and are currently undergoing the same difficulty, you have mentioned it that your source of motivation is the principles and the principles that you believe in. What's your message for the same people who are living as immigrants, refugees, and who are going the same difficulty that you went through?
No, Jarmuchi, the Pemimanki Uti, Mechane, and Kazanda, the Tarian Sonso, doing a Susu Changdenda, Rangsu Tembutan, Tindichi poet, the Grand of Tachik, Mimambuchi, Susu, Longwayu, the Drogon, that the Mambuchi or was so the Zola, and the not doing the Condesnanguinas.
There's no problem. Buddha himself, you see, mentioned, oh, my follower, not necessary to listen me personally, but think the situation. If anyone, something harming other, you should stop. So, the Buddha himself, you see, made it very clear. Everything depends on the circumstances. Okay. So, no problem. and some little puja prayer.
Yes.
Sometimes you say, I forget, I don't care. The main thing is practice of compassion and forgiveness. I never felt to negative feeling towards those Chinese communists. I feel, instead of anger, feel sympathy, feel compassion. So that I consider very important to control your anger. And through that way, also you see reduce fear. So all these negative emotion ultimately related with self-centered attitude.
Thank you, Your Holiness.
No.
Now I think time for stomach.
Okay. Thank you so much, Your Holiness, for your thoughts today on inner peace and equality and justice. We're very grateful to you. I'd like to just take a moment to thank your colleagues for the support for this wonderful exchange. I want to thank Tenzin Takla and Seton Samdup for their wonderful assistance on this exchange. I want to send a thank you to our good friend who's in Washington today, Kalden Lodi, your former monk and now the director of the Tibetan service at Radio Free Asia. I want to thank our entire USIP team, our wonderful team, including our special guests, Steve Killalay from Sydney, the Institute for Economics and Peace, Sarah Austin Jeunesse from the famous storytelling organization in New York City called The Moth, and my wife, Dr. Elizabeth Moses, who came on this journey with me. Also want to thank your audiovisual team, to the wonderful Don Eisenberg and Tenzin Chejor. I want to thank all of your personal attendants who have fed us delicious pastries the last few days. I want to thank your chefs who will serve us lunch. I want to thank all of the monks at Namgyal Monastery School who hosted us, in particular the Venerable Thupten Yangfel. I want to thank your security team who made it so easy for us to enter your residence. And finally, before I thank you, Your Holiness, I want to thank our 26 young leaders who have traveled to Dharamsala. They truly represent hope and the future, and they have come both because they have been inspired by you in the past, and they have come to learn from you in the present. I can't tell you how many of the young leaders told me yesterday after our session that today is the happiest day of my life. And that is truly so. So, Your Holiness, I want to thank you for your continuing support for young peace builders around the world. Your encouragement, your inspiration, your message is invaluable to them. I know that you are a global leader with a global message. I didn't want to scare our young leaders before now, but I will tell them now that many of your webcasts have 1 million viewers. So we know you have a global following. But I want to tell you, Your Holiness, that even though you impact 7 billion human beings around the world, your greatest impact is for individual leaders like all of these, because they, after you pass on to your next life at 110, they will carry on your message of hope, nonviolence, and peace. So thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you very much. We are part of 7 billion human beings. You see, we all have the responsibility to create happy humanity, peaceful world. Not only our generation, but coming generations, genuinely peace, happy. That's our goal. And the different profession, including different religion, that's a personal matter. But our common responsibility is happy world, peaceful world. Okay.
Your Holiness,
Thank you.
We have a few gifts for you, please. From 2019.
Okay.
This is our headquarters
Oh.
in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Please join me.
Thank you. It is quite heavy. So, if necessary, for fight. Thank you. Now I think lunch. Lunch. Oh, there is the. Much more than Roga Mendo.